Star Wars 7x7 episode 2463. They've been doing it in little bits and pieces over the last few years, but now the big jump is about to happen. The fine folks at Lucasfilm are going to make the Star Wars Holiday Special canon. I have all the details here. Punch it! Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy, and thank you so much for joining me for it. So let's set this up with a little bit of historical perspective. The holiday special, of course, came out in 1978, and George Lucas is famously embarrassed by it, says that he would like to hunt every copy down and destroy it with a hammer or burn it, various stories to that effect. Well, it basically got pushed to the side along with the rest of the expanded universe, which is what we now call Legends, when Lucasfilm rebooted the canon in April of 2014. But here's the thing. Ever since that happened, Lucasfilm has been slowly introducing elements of the holiday special back into the canon. To give you a few examples, there's probably one of the most popular and amazing ones, the Amban rifle that the Mandalorian uses in The Mandalorian, that was first introduced in the holiday special. The characters of Lumpy and Itchy and Mala have each been reintroduced to the canon. They were first introduced in the holiday special. Lumpy appears in Empire's End, the final novel in the Aftermath trilogy by Chuck Wendig. That is his introduction into the canon again. Then we have Mala, who is mentioned in Alexandra Bracken's adaptation of A New Hope, which is called The Princess, the Scoundrel, and the Farm Boy. And she gets name-checked in Chuck Wendig's Life Debt novel as well, but the Bracken reference came first. And then Itchy, or pronunciation, Tichichok, something like that, is mentioned in Solo: A Star Wars Story as Chewbacca describes himself as Chewbacca, son of Achachok. And so that's how he was brought into the canon. Then, of course, there's the concept of Life Day itself, which, just to give you an example, gets referenced in The Mandalorian as well, in that very first episode when Mithril says, I hope I get out of this before Life Day, right? And the Mind Evaporator, you remember the crazy virtual reality thing that Itchy uses in the holiday special and watches Diane Carroll dance around as Mermea, right? Well, that is brought into canon in a DK reference book, Star Wars Complete Vehicles, in 2018. So yeah, there have been a lot of examples of elements from the holiday special that have been slowly introduced back into the canon. And they're doing it kind of subtly, really, but the subtlety is going away in 2021. As was announced earlier this year, the holiday special cartoon, which is called The Story of the Faithful Wookiee, is actually coming to Disney Plus, and when it does, it will be officially part of the Star Wars canon. And building on that and circling back to the whole Life Day situation is the Star Wars Life Day Treasury. That is the book that's coming out later this year. Kevin Scott is a writer on it, and so is George Mann. And George Mann has done the writing for the Star Wars Myths and Fables and Dark Legends, or if I'm mixing up those titles, I apologize. Yeah, it's Star Wars Myths and Fables and Star Wars Dark Legends. Those are it. But anyway, he is working with Kevin Scott on a Life Day Treasury, and Kevin Scott says that yes, there will be a story that takes place on Kashyyyk, and it does involve Itchy and Lumpy and Mala. And the image, one of the images that they shared for this, is an image of red-robed Wookiees, and looks exactly like what we saw at the end of the Star Wars Holiday Special. But this is not all. There are 4 other instances of holiday special related characters and content that are going to be coming to canon very soon. One of them is going to be a little longer away. It's going to be coming out in 2023 when the 40th anniversary of The Return of the Jedi happens, and we get that short story collection that we've gotten with Star Wars and with Empire Strikes Back. So the title is as yet unreleased, but there's going to be a short story in there about Gormanda, who is the 4-armed chef played by Harvey Korman. Gormanda at the time is going to be the personal chef of Jabba the Hutt, and have fallen out of favor with Jabba. Jabba would rather eat fast food like the frogs out of that, little fish tank next to his dais. And so Gormanda decides that she is going to make the meal of all meals for Jabba and win back his trust and appreciation, and is going to do it as a celebratory feast for the post-Sarlacc pit digestion and drop-off situation with our heroes. Of course, that goes awry, and Jabba is killed by Leia, and so Gormanda is out of luck yet again. Meanwhile, Sundan, who was played by Art Carney in the holiday special, his character is slated to appear in the Lando Calrissian series that's being developed by Justin Simien, and he is supposed to be, because this takes place many years before the events of the holiday special, he's supposed to be a little bit more out and about in the galaxy, and he is actually serving as a fence for Lando. So Lando's ill-gotten gains, Sundan is actually working to help Lando hide the profits and make money and make things disappear and that sort of thing. So he is going to be an active player, and he hasn't been cast yet. That's still a little bit a ways away, but yeah, that character is going to be appearing in Lando. Now, also further out in development is the series The Acolyte by Leslie Headland, and The Acolyte is supposed to center on a person who is stumbling upon old Sith teachings and whatnot and kind of rediscovering the dark side of the Force. Well, that is actually going to happen in the Pana system, and the Pana system is the system where the story of the Faithful Wookiee takes place, where we meet Boba Fett for the first time. The Pana system is part of the Tion cluster in the whole Star Wars galaxy, and the Tion cluster is actually where Darth Revan was operating way back when, like 3500 BBY, like that sort of time frame. So Sith Empire stuff. And so our Acolyte, the Sith artifacts and Sith teachings and Sith memorabilia and whatnot that the Acolyte's going to discover, well, it's going to be stuff from Revan's Sith Empire, and it will be happening on the Pana system. Or in the Pana system, I should say. And the last thing I want to flag for your attention, this is probably the one that's going to happen, I guess, the nearest to us, right? So the Gormanda 2023 story, but in 2022, we are going to meet Ackmena again. Ackmena is the bartender in the Star Wars Holiday Special played by B. Arthur, and Ackmena will still be employed as a bartender at Chalmun's Cantina. We're going to meet her in Season 3 of The Mandalorian as Din Djarin goes back to Tatooine for yet another reason. And it's going to turn out Ackmena is a friend of Peli Motto's, the character played by Amy Sedaris. Now, of course, B. Arthur has since passed away, unfortunately, so the role of Ackmena is going to be played by Jane Lynch of Christopher Guest mockumentary fame, and been on Glee and hosting game shows on NBC and all sorts of comedy stuff. So yeah, Jane Lynch as Ackmena in Season 3 of The Mandalorian. But that is not all. So if you remember in the holiday special when B. Arthur, Ackmena, sings that song, Good Night But Not Goodbye, right? Well, Ludwig Göransson, who does the music for The Mandalorian, is going to be creating his own version of that song for Jane Lynch to sing in the show. And it goes even farther, because that's going to be one song on a larger Mandalorian-themed soundtrack where Ludwig Göransson is going to bring in music from all across the holiday special, including Light the Sky on Fire, which is the Jefferson Starship song that we hear, and also Hyperdrive, which in the real world was the B-side for Light the Sky on Fire. And so there you go. That's the scoop about how Lucasfilm has been slowly reintroducing the elements of the holiday special into the post-2014 canon, and what their plans are for continuing that process. And that is going to do it for this episode of the show. It just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for it, as always, and April Fools.
7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the force be with them. All original content is copyright 2021 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.